Hey everyone, and welcome to today's episode of the Cutting Room 101, and this week's topic was chosen by Mike from Mike's Movie Show, and he figured that since it's December, we should talk about our favorite Christmas movies. Now it is just too tough for me to talk about just one Christmas movie. Normally I only talk about one movie, but today I'm gonna have to pick two because I just cannot choose one, and I tried, but I just can't pick one movie. So I'm gonna talk about two Christmas movies today briefly, and the first one is Christmas Vacation. Christmas Vacation, in my opinion, is hands down the funniest Christmas movie ever made, and I don't even think this can be topped. It has so packed full of laughs, and I love the National Lampoon Vacation series, but Christmas Vacation has always been my favorite. Chevy Chase is absolutely hilarious in this movie, and he has his pratfalls that he does in this film, and he does in pretty much all of his movies. He has his gags that he does, there's slapstick humor, but most of all, this movie is chock full of quotable lines and just hilariously over-the-top and memorable moments. There's a lot of funny Christmas movies out there, but this has so many hilarious jokes throughout the entire film. I laugh non-stop every time I watch this movie. It never gets old to me. And the movie has a really simple premise too, and the whole movie revolves around the fact that Chevy Chase, reprising his role as Clark Griswold, is trying to create the perfect family Christmas get-together, and nothing is going right. And the movie really benefits off this simple premise because they're able to go straight for the jokes. And I cannot mention Christmas Vacation without talking about Cousin Eddie, played by Randy Quaid. That role was perfectly suited towards him as the cousin that nobody wants to see, and he is just hilarious in this movie, and he steals a lot of the scenes he's in. Also, Christmas Vacation has one of the best Christmas songs out there, the opening Christmas song, and it's played at the end of the movie as well. I can listen to that song on repeat and it never gets old. And the second movie I want to talk about is Home Alone. Now, Home Alone is a classic for me, and I love both Home Alone movies, but the first one takes the cake by just a little bit more. And what makes Home Alone so awesome is that you have this little kid being able to outthink these burglars and set all these traps and let the burglars fall into these traps. And the traps are so over the top, but they're just so awesome to watch. And part of what's funny is that they're completely impossible. There's no way that he could have set all those traps up, let alone in a couple of hours like he does in the film. But it's just such a fun movie, you're able to overlook all that and just go with the flow. Macaulay Culkin gives a classic performance as Kevin, and this was the movie that made him, and he really didn't do much after this movie, but his performance is so great. And in my opinion, the other child actors are really good as well, and the family dynamics between the cousins make for some really funny arguments. But two other characters that steal the show at times, especially near the end of the movie, are Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern as the burglars. Or more specifically, the Wet Bandits. They are just awesome in this movie. I know they're the bad guys, but they are so funny, especially when they're falling into these traps. And what I like about this movie is, since it's a PG-rated family movie, they can't swear in it, and so they have to just make up their own cuss words, pretty much. So Joe Pesci, this movie came out the same year as Goodfellas, so his character is really different between these movies. But Joe Pesci just starts yelling things that you can't even understand what he's saying. He says stuff like friction, fraction, like he just rambles off random words, and it cracks me up every time. This movie also has a great score, and it's composed by John Williams, my favorite composer, and I love the opening title sequence with the music. The music is just so good in this movie, especially when he's setting the traps. It gets really intense. It just has a really good soundtrack, and it really feels Christmassy. I'm sure a lot of you have seen both of these movies, but if you haven't, check these movies out. They're two of my favorite Christmas movies of all time, and I watch them every year. So those are my picks for two of my favorite Christmas movies. Let me know in the comments below what your favorite Christmas movie is, and let me know if you've seen these movies and what your favorite scenes are in these films. And if you like the channel, definitely subscribe to the Cutting Room 101, and if you want to check out my main channel, Film Recall, and if you're not subscribed and you want to subscribe, you can click in the link below in the underbar. And stay tuned tomorrow to hear from Anthony from The Random Mind on his favorite Christmas movies. See you then.